when you see millennials and 30 years old saying my job is boring, I don't like my Mondays, is it only the money? But then I am thinking in my head, then why don't you look at education?
In your four walls in a corporate office, maybe you sometimes lose touch with reality. In a school, you cannot lose touch with reality because the children bringing you back to reality all the time.
A lot of the time students are looking at teachers to fulfill a lot of their roles as parents because the parents are busy. There is an urgent need for us to also educate parents on what they can expect from the school and what is their own role.
I tell the parent that that child is going to step into the world of work in 2040. I can't even imagine 2030 what the world is going to be, and you and I are preparing the child for 2040. This gentle parenting concept is there right now.
I like this term, gentle parenting.
They don't say no.
And what is your take on Masters Union? We are doing learn by doing. What has been your impression of us as an institution? Hi, welcome everyone. This is your host Ankur. This is Intersect by Masters Union podcast series. Today I have a very distinguished guest with me, Ms. Rima Singh, the head of school at DPS International in Gurugram. Welcome, ma'am, to this podcast. So happy to have you here with us. And you are one person that I have known for the last 5 years and more. And I've seen the impact that you and your work has had at DPS International. All of us at Masters Union, at Intersect, and in the larger fraternity of admissions and outreach know the work that you have been doing. And we have been, at Ashoka, at Jindal, and now at Masters Union, we have been seeing the quality of the graduates. I mean, I personally worked at all these three institutions, and I've seen the quality of the students that are graduating from your school. So really honored to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Ankur. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And also thank you for the kind words. Yes, we are very proud of our graduates who are grade 12 students who move out and go into these universities. And I'm happy that you've noticed that they're doing well.
So, ma'am, I have been a great supporter of your institution. I visited your school and I've been always in awe of the work that you have been doing. Today, as is the format of our podcast series, we are highlighting some of the key leading educators from around the world. I have been very, very happy that we have hosted educators from Hong Kong, from Singapore, from leading high school principals now at Intersect. And you are one of those educators that, I personally look up to. And as an institution, we are very, very proud of. So I wanted to take, some time off from you, and thank you for agreeing to this, to have an understanding of your own personal journey and your own professional journey over the last 3 decades and more. I want to take this opportunity to educate the audience about what it takes to become a Rima Singh and lead a school like DPS International. So let's rewind a bit and go back to your early years, your academic year, professional journey. What was it like, your upbringing, your family background, whatever it is that you think is relevant to be sharing?
Well, my father was in the army. So, a typical army life is that you move schools after you move a city after every 2 years. So if I count, there were 8 schools that I was part of. And I think that made me strong and resilient and adaptable to any situation. Then my last few years were in Delhi, my college days. And I did my master's in therapeutic nutrition, did my internship from AIMS. I was a gold medalist from Delhi University. And I was all set to make a difference in the world in the field of nutrition.
Super. So you were a nutrition person.
I was a dietitian and nutritionist. Yeah, that's how I started my career.
And this was what years?
This was more than 30 years.
30 years back.
Okay. So 5 years I worked as a dietitian in Delhi.
Okay.
And then there's another story which happened and which brought me to this profession.
So early years, I didn't know that. Perfect. So you were a dietitian.
I worked as a dietitian.
5 years?
Yes, 5 years, yeah.
And then what led to education?
So this was like a detour which became a journey. My husband and I moved to Dubai, and I was looking forward to work in a hospital in Dubai, and I thought I'll get great exposure working in those big fancy hospitals over there. But unfortunately, my Indian degree was not as valuable as a degree from any other part of the world. So I was a bit disappointed. But somewhere down the line, I had also done a bachelor's of education, thanks to my mother, because I did express a desire that I want to marry an army officer. So she said, then you will need a B.Ed, because if you're going to be moving around, you can at least work in a school. and she herself was a teacher, a college professor. So when I did not find the kind of job I wanted in Dubai, I walked into my son's school and I had a conversation with the headmaster there, and then a series of interviews. And I landed up my first teaching job, which was in Dubai. And I think there was no turning back after that. I think at the end of it, the degree did not matter, whether it was nutrition or education. I just enjoyed what I was doing. I made connections with the students, and I just kept, doing my best. My father, I remember him telling me that, beta, whatever you do, do it with utmost sincerity, give it your best, and everything will follow. And that's what I did. And I learned everything on the job.
God bless him.
And that's been like 27 years now.
That's a wonderful piece of advice. I mean, I agree with your father's advice. I mean, that's the best advice that we can give. But I just want to, have a follow-up question. So you were in Dubai. You had done a B.Ed.
I had done a B.Ed in India
But
itself.
you wanted to marry an army
officer. Yeah, so I thought the B.Ed would be handy, but I married a civilian, and even then the B.Ed was handy. Yeah, because
you married a civilian?
I married a civilian.
But the B.Ed helped.
B.Ed did help, and so I married a tea planter. So my first 2-3 years of married life was in the tea gardens.
Okay.
And that was wonderful, but it was a life of luxury and, just being out in the wilderness, and there's not much to do.
Beautiful.
So then we moved to Delhi.
Okay.
And that's where I worked as a dietitian for 5 years, and then we moved to Dubai.
And having lived in Dubai myself, I know that I think times are changing now. But
they are
earlier
different,
there was this
25
problem
years,
of equivalency and the
So
degree.
I was not a native speaker around, so
I completely agree with that. I mean, but you got a job as a teacher, and you enjoyed that journey.
Absolutely, and I didn't. In fact, I worked in a DPS in Dubai.
Okay.
We moved to Sharjah, and then I got a job in DPS.
Is it DPS Sharjah?
DPS Sharjah.
Okay, I've been there. Yeah, it's one of the biggest schools in the region.
Yeah, so almost 5 years again in Dubai, teaching in Dubai, and then I'll tell you how I landed up in my next school.
Wonderful, and I think. Couple of things that I want to highlight from this part of your journey. I think that is what we in Masters Union also believe in: skills before degree, learn by doing, and enjoying the work that you do, and building something that because of the love of building what that thing, what you are doing. I think those are the values that we resonate with totally in your own professional journey that I just heard. Now, you were in Dubai, and now we come to the next part of your journey. I think you came back to India and started working with a school called Pathways.
Yes.
Which is...
So that was also very interesting. I actually came there not seeking a job, but I came there as a parent to put my son in the boarding.
Okay. So and this was Pathways?
Pathways Aravali, the flagship school, and it was just a year old. And when I was there, the head of school told me, we are just beginning with this IB curriculum, the primary years program, PYP. I was a primary teacher in Dubai, so why don't you join us also? And at that stage, you're navigating all kinds of emotion, leaving your child in the boarding. And I knew that to be part of an international education, I will not get this opportunity in Dubai easily. Again, same challenges of, being a native speaker. So I had a conversation with my husband, and I told him that just give me 2 years, I'll settle our son, and I'll get some experience. I'll be back in Dubai, because he was still in Dubai. Of course, it all worked out, and those 2 years became 8 years. I never went back. Dubai was close by, so we made frequent trips, but we managed. So my son finished his 12th from Pathways, and I still was there for 2 more years because I kept growing professionally. I got all the opportunities one could dream of. I had a wonderful mentor, and I must take her name, Mrs. Paramjeet Kaur Narang.
Okay.
She groomed me for the next role, leadership role. It was wonderful to, understand what the IB is together as a team, a new team, discovering all the good points about the IB program, the philosophy of the IB, how it resonated with all of us. So it was really a super journey, a transformational journey for me to be part of Pathways. The management was very supportive of what we were doing. And as I said, 2 years of which I had thought 2 years I'll be there, became 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, my son passed out and I was still there. I became the principal over there in primary.
And I think your son is a lucky charm. I mean, the school in Dubai, you went there to put your son, and then...
I don't know whether he thinks it's lucky. His mom was too close for his comfort. Yeah,
that's a different conversation.
Yeah, so that you can probably speak.
Yeah,
but I do.
You followed your son to the schools that
did,
he was going to.
Some children don't have a choice. He would say that. He would say that.
Yeah, I'm sure. But let's spend a couple of minutes on your journey in Pathways, because good 8 years you
8
spent
years,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So you joined as
I
a
have joined
teacher
as a
teaching
teacher, as a
teaching what
yeah,
subjects?
primary. I've always been a primary
Primary
teacher,
teacher.
yeah. And so I was in the primary, grade 4 and 5. And I remember, totally from coming from a different curriculum in Dubai, and then suddenly you land up in an IB school and there are no textbooks, and you're told that, okay, now you have to ensure that whatever concept or topic you're teaching, you need to give all kinds of experiences to the students. You can invite an expert, a resource person, you can take the children on a field trip. So that was a new, way of learning, which is what is now happening. You have to be resourceful. You don't just depend on one textbook for any knowledge. So it was a very, very interesting start, and understanding the philosophy of the IB and how you can, nurture children. And again, as you said, skill based, more skill focus on, a lot of focus on skills, in fact. And it was wonderful. Those
I think Pathways
initial
Aravali
year.
was one of the first IB
It is the
schools.
first IP school, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that
And
was
we had a wonderful team. I think all of us are now all over the world, I can say, in leadership roles. And we had wonderful mentors, not only my immediate mentor, but even the head of school. We all had, and we were given that freedom to explore, to understand, and give our best. We gave our best, and we got the best. Resources were there. IB training was there, and also in fact, along with that, my IB journey also began. My journey as an IB representative, we call it an IBEN, an IB Educator Network, where
Okay.
IB taps on experts like us who've been with the programs for many years, and we then share our expertise with the schools which are new to the program, the educators who are new to the program. So it was a very fulfilling journey for me in Pathways.
I'm sure. And I think Pathways, you were mentioning, you were the principal by the time you were about to leave
eventually I became the principal for the primary school.
school. And then after 8 years, you
Yeah,
moved
then
on.
it was just a career move. I went to Aga Khan Academy in Hyderabad.
Hyderabad.
And though short-lived, but again a very, very wonderful, opportunity for me. I was totally drawn to the organization's mission. They are nurturing global citizens, but who are totally rooted in their own identities, in their own cultural context. And I had the fortune of meeting the Aga Khan.
Okay.
His vision is so bold and so forward-thinking that the Aga Khan academies want to nurture homegrown leaders, give them the best education. IB education, which maybe if they're not able to afford, but make it available for them. Give them all the exposure they need, all the experiences they need to be a global citizens, but let them come back and do good in their own communities. So that's his vision. So a lot of focus on ethics, pluralism, empowerment, empathy. So that was wonderful learning for me. Though I was there only for 2 years. I had to come back to Delhi due to a personal tragedy. But it was a wonderful experience. And I also got lucky. They wanted a Hindi-speaking principal for the primary.
Okay, you were the principal.
I was the principal for the primary again. They had leadership in the senior and the head of school. They were all expats. But for the primary, they wanted Hindi-speaking. So I think that's how I got in.
You mentioned about Aga Khan, phenomenal work. I agree with you.
Yeah.
They're doing some phenomenal work. I've been to many Aga Khan schools.
And many other industries also. Yeah.
I mean, in education, what they're doing is also inspiring.
Very
I've been to,
inspiring,
you mentioned Aga Khan Hyderabad. I've been to Aga Khan in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Dhaka.
Yeah.
I mean, all these places. Aga Khan
So
is
the
doing
same vision they
same
have for
vision,
all, yeah.
and
Same vision.
some of the most inspiring teachers also I have met.
So once you're part of that organization,
Yeah.
you really understand, and somewhere it touches you and makes you a different person. Like how important impact is. It's not only about delivering or teaching, but if you are able to help those children make an impact, that's what matters.
Absolutely. Perfect. So you mentioned a short stint,
Yeah.
2 years, due to
2
a
years,
personal
yeah,
tragedy, you
yeah.
had to come back
Yeah.
to Delhi.
I needed to be back with my parents. Yeah.
Wonderful. And then
So then DPS happened.
DPS
so
happened.
it was like a complete circle. Again, I think God has been very kind, and with a lot of gratitude, I say that always I've been at the right place at the right time. I can say that because I didn't seek out anything. I didn't have to struggle for anything which I wanted. And when DPS happened, it sounded so exciting that the first DPS to be offering the IB curriculum. And they were very clear, my management, that they had other DPSs offering the CBSE. And my pro vice chairperson, Ms. Devyani Jaipuria, so dynamic, young and dynamic, and she had a vision there. And it was very exciting for me after being part of an IB schools for two schools for so many years, that I could now shape something on my, the way I wanted, of
You
course,
wanted
with the
it.
team, but a lot of, opportunity for me here to now shape something with the way I wanted. And that's how the journey with DPS started, and with the vision of offering the IB, all the programs of the IB. At that time, we had the primary years, middle years, and the diploma. And now we have the career related program, and I'm very proud to share that we just got authorized for the career program also.
Wonderful.
So we have all the 4 programs of the IB, and it's a journey, 11-year journey now. We just celebrated our 10 years last year.
God bless you.
And
God bless you.
yeah, so, and this, every morning I look forward to coming to DPS.
No, and I was, with regards to your journey at DPS International, and I was reading a couple of your posts on LinkedIn when you mentioned the anniversary.
Yeah,
And
10 years.
you have very passionately written what I think should be a must read for every educator of why you enjoy being in this profession. And I think a couple of things that stood out for me in that post were, your connection with your students. You mentioned, I think you were having an analogy with one of your friend who works in corporate, and
Yeah, that's
and was not.
that's a conversation with the millennial
Yeah.
of who, his early 30s. He's said to me that I think I'm done with corporate. I have to drag myself to work every day. I'm not enjoying it. And then I thought, my God, look at me, double his age almost. And I look forward to my job every day because there is no complacency, there is no monotony. Every day pans out in a different way. Sometimes all good, sometimes all not so good. But it's so interesting, and there is no place for that kind of monotony, and of course then complacency. So that's
No,
why
I love that post.
so that's why I say, why doesn't this young generation think of this as a profession? You're always learning, you're always on your toes, you're always with children, so you know what the world is all about. In your 4 walls in a corporate office, I'm sorry, I don't, maybe you sometimes you lose touch with reality. In a school, you cannot lose touch with reality because the children are bringing you back to reality all the time.
Absolutely, and I also totally resonate with what you wrote at your LinkedIn post, and now you're saying, when you see millennials and 30 years old saying, and I also come across these people, and they say, my job is boring, I don't like my Mondays. Why is it that I have to work? It's only the money that is being paid. That's why I'm working. But then I am thinking in my head, then exactly what you're saying. Why don't you look at education? And we were just speaking before this, and I think we can bring that conversation here also. Why is teaching not in
Yeah,
top
as a new
career
age
choices
yeah,
in
it's-
in
yeah,
this
it's- I-
young generation, and which you were rightly mentioning. Earlier the reason was that teaching does not pay well,
yeah.
but now what I'm seeing across, and you can probably validate this
Yeah.
from your own experience as well, that there are very good paying jobs in
Yes.
teaching
Teaching,
also,
absolutely.
and you are a head of school,
Yeah.
spent so many years. If you want to touch upon that.
Yeah, so as I was telling you, that I wish this next generation, children who are looking for opportunities after they finish their graduation and masters and all, they look at this also as a profession. Whether you call it a new age profession because there is so much newness to this, or it's a good old profession. But why is this generation not taking up teaching, or or wanting to be an educator? There is so much to offer if you're an educator, and if you are an expert at your subject, whatever you've studied. And besides that also, you can cultivate your own passions. If I were to tell you, if I maybe I'm looking for an economics teacher, so I will of course look at the qualifications, good qualifications. We always want them to be masters of their subject. And if that teacher tells me that I can play and teach the guitar, or if the teacher tells me I can play and teach basketball, my God, that's a complete package for me.
Absolutely.
In the classroom and outside the classroom, you demand your price. We'll
Absolutely.
be happy to do that.
Absolutely.
We'll be happy to take you on board.
And I'm also.
But here I need to say that the career counselors need to push that as a career. As a career, they need to share the advantages of that career. And it's not an easy
Guilty
way
as
out.
charged.
Yes, and it's not an easy way out. It's not a half-day job. It's not, if there's nothing else, I'll be a teacher.
No, absolutely. That's the worst reason to become a teacher.
Yes, absolutely.
There is nothing
Yeah,
else than
yeah.
become a teacher because, I mean, I remember, when I was in school, high school, and somebody in those days, the only choices for, boys like me coming from middle class families were either becoming an engineer or a doctor.
Doctor, yeah.
And I chose to become an engineer because I felt becoming a doctor, I ruin so many people's lives. Because if I'm a bad doctor, I'm not going to do justice, and so many people's lives will be impacted on an individual basis. And that's why I chose to become an engineer. And same goes for teacher. I mean, if you are a teacher, there are maybe 40, 50, 100 students looking up to you every
You're
day.
impacting lives daily.
And if you are not inspired, if you are not in that profession for the right reasons, how are you able to do justice, and how are you going to have a sound night of sleep? If you are
You have to be a role model.
role
all the
model,
time.
absolutely.
There is a huge responsibility in being an educator, like being a doctor or anything. There, children are looking up to you. They're, whatever you're saying, and they're absorbing that all the time. So there
All the
is a lot
time.
of responsibility, but you can just do the best, and everything will fall in place.
No, I think if somebody has to take some lesson from this conversation, I think becoming a teacher, today is very lucrative, but for the right reasons.
For the right
You have
reasons,
it's not only about the money,
For
but
the
you
job
have-
satisfaction,
for the
I
job
would say.
satisfaction, for the larger impact that you're going to have, and yes, having exciting Mondays because having so many different students.
My
there's-
Monday can start off with just getting a message from a teacher. One student won an award. Okay, great. And then you're on your way and you get the call from the transport manager. Ma'am, the bus has broken down. The parents are getting angry. This bus children will be late. So as I said, anything can happen. There's no predictability. But then that's what we are there. Leaders are there.
And you were telling me that you have to learn so many different things.
I have to be an expert at many things,
Many things.
because people look up to you,
Yeah.
and the life is becoming complex. The environment the children are growing up is so complex now, and you need to know a little bit of law on your side. Cyber safety is a big on our list. In fact, safety itself, even before education, I need to assure the parent who's looking for a admission in my school that yes, I will keep their child safe.
Yeah.
So I need to know all the protocols of safety. Now we have the new drills which have been added. So I need to have knowledge of all that. Of course, I have experts to help me, but I also need to transfer that to my team, because we need to ensure the child is safe, physically, emotionally safe in the school. Everything else follows after that. Education, studying, everything comes after safety, and that's what we have to assure to parents. So we need to know a lot more than just what typically a school principal would know.
I want to spend a couple of minutes at DPS International. You said this is the first IB school from
This is the first DPS to offer IB.
DPS to.
DPS, one of them.
So this is the same.
This
under
is part of the DPS society. Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
So first school in India to offer IB, DPS.
First school, all DPS
All
schools,
DPS.
yes, to offer the. Now we have in Bangalore also, there are 3 of them, I think, offering the CP program. The
Okay.
latest program of the IB. But we are the only DPS to offer the IB continuum, all the programs.
All the programs.
Yeah.
And I think
Some DPSs do offer the IGCSE, the international curriculum also, the IGCSE, UK based. But IBs, we are the only ones.
and how has the journey been for last 11 years?
Wonderful, if I were to use one word, of course, with its own ups and downs. But I have, and of course, I give credit to the team I have, because a lot of them have been there right from the beginning. My leadership, a lot of teachers also. So there's a shared ownership of everything we do.
And you were the founding principal?
I'm
here?
the founding head,
wow.
yeah. And we started with the primary, then I did the middle. And, for being an IB school, you have to get accreditations for every program. So there's a lot of work which goes in that. Then we also wanted to get accredited by the Council of International Schools, which is again a global body with international benchmarks for every aspect of school life. So that was yet again a learning for us, as well as, upping our game in every aspect. The whole school was involved. So now we are very proudly a CIS accredited school.
Oh, wonderful.
So
CIS.
recognized globally for our pedagogy and everything else we offer as a school. So it's been a very fulfilling journey. And again, the credit goes to my management, totally my pro-vice chairperson, my school director, Miss Aditi Misra.
Yeah.
She's there, always there for anything we need, because I was new to the DPS in a way as a leader. I did work at the DPS society. Norms were new to me when I became a leader. So Miss Aditi was there, and she's still very much integral part of the school. So, and then of course, as I said, my team. So I'm very clear that the message I like to give to my team is that we are a learning organization. We cannot sit back on our laurels.
Yeah.
We are constantly learning, and I like to role model that, and so I want my team to also, think of themselves as lifelong learners, and I think that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
There's always excitement
Always.
in the school. Yeah.
And I visited your school on more than a couple of occasions, and I've seen that energy your team, in your staff, and in your students. So phenomenal. And when you walk in, and again, coming from my experience of many, many years now and across multiple geographies, you can identify a great institution not only by brick and mortar, the fancy building, but when you walk in, the way that there is this energy that flows through that institution. If it's a good institution, you get that positive energy, and you feel
Institutions
everybody.
are all about people.
People. It
And
is.
that's what I think our strength is. I think COVID taught all of us that the buildings don't matter.
Yeah.
It's the people who
People.
made sure there was continuity of learning.
And you mentioned it yourself. Continuous learning, not sitting on your laurels, and every day.
Every year we want to do new things. Children compel us to do new things. Every batch is different. My God, the wonderful ideas they have. In fact, we are catching up with them where technology is concerned, where AI is concerned. In so many ways, we are catching up with them.
Absolutely.
They are way ahead of us. But then we have to continue to learn. Otherwise,
No,
we
more
won't be
power
able
to you.
support them.
11 years for an institution, it's a short span of time. But in that short span of time, you have come so far. I'm sure because of your leadership and the team that has been around you, and you mentioned the mentors,
The management.
the leadership that you have at your institution. More power to you. And I think in India we need many more such institutions to come up. I think I also want to talk about there is a lot of work that you do as a volunteer. You are now
As an
IB school
IB.
leader and IBN. You mentioned.
Yeah,
Can you
so-
mention some details on that?
So the IB, as I said, gives you a lot of opportunities to share your expertise with schools who are new to the program. So and my journey as an IBN started in 2009, and a lot of training and handholding by the IB, of course, was there. So now I visit school for their accreditation.
So IBEN is IB
Educator Network. So once you are selected by the IB to be a member of the IBEN, you get opportunities to go to other schools depending on the role you have. So I have multiple roles. I go as a school visitor for authorizations.
to IB schools for
To IB
authorization.
schools, and for the evaluations, established school will have an evaluation. Then I'm a workshop leader, so I lead a lot of workshops. Now I'm not in the classroom, so I'm not doing as many curriculum-related workshops, but leadership workshops, team building workshops. A lot of development meetings happen. IB is again a program which reviews everything they have every 5 years, 7 years. So they like to involve the experts in that review. So there's lots to keep me busy with the IB, but of course I have to balance it with my school work. But it's a wonderful opportunity for me to step into another school story, another IB school story. And it's wonderful to see how IB is being, implemented, the philosophy is being implemented in diverse contexts. So every time I have an opportunity like that, I think I come back as a better leader, more inspired, more humbled, more knowledgeable, and there's always something which I can bring back to my school also. So it's like a professional development opportunity for me also.
And you've been doing it for many, many years now.
Yeah,
as
from
a-
2009, yeah.
2009.
Yeah.
Amazing. And this is one thing I also believe in. As an educator, our vision should also be how can we give back,
Yeah.
apart from our own institutions, to the larger educator community. And I think, again, this is validated by your own
Absolutely.
work. That
So
you
in
do.
my school, I'm very proud to share that I have, again, I think 11 IBENs. I've encouraged teachers to take on this role. So they all get an opportunity to, do the same thing, visit other schools, and they come back with more knowledge and more expertise. It enriches our own learning environment.
Wonderful. So, ma'am, final question to you. It's been a journey that you have had. Accidentally becoming a teacher in Dubai, then, coming to Pathways, and then Aga Khan, and then DPS International, and IB happening. And what are those 2, 3, let's say, take 3 learnings from your own, I think 25 years plus as a teacher.
25 years plus. as a teacher.
There are young people that do not look at teaching as a profession. What is it that those people should look at teaching as a profession for. I mean, we mentioned the salaries are good now and they're not bad. We also mentioned the idea of the exciting Mondays. But apart from these two things, there are a couple of other things that you can mention.
I must also say, being a head of school is like, if I could make an analogy, it's like being in a circus in a good way. You have to be a ringmaster, you have to be a trainer, you have to be a juggler, you have to be a clown, you have to be a janitor. So that also makes this job very interesting.
I think, yeah, I mean, in that sense also, I mean, as a head of school, I mean, what has been your experience like as a head of school?
Yeah,
We
so
can
this is
learn
what I
from
said.
that.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. So, as I said, being part of a circus, because there's so much happening in a good way, again, I say that, you get the front seat for to look at transformation. How are you transforming the children? How are you transforming educators? So see, my role now is also grooming educators to take up leadership. So there's a front row seat. I get to see all this, which gives me that satisfaction, the success of every student. And I'm not talking about success only academic success. For me, every child, if that child is growing on his or her own continuum, is success. Everybody's journey is different, so we don't measure everybody's success with the same parameters. But if you're able to take the child from point A to point B, that is success. So you get to see that happening, and what better than that? So that's the joy of being a head of school. It comes with its challenges, as I already mentioned. Yeah, but then there's nothing which is without a challenge. If you're resilient, you're adaptable, and you can, be calm and empathetic, I think anything you can face.
And finally, I mean, I said final question, but I can't let you go before get an answer to this question. I mean, the very important stakeholder in schools are the parents, and we know, I mean, and we were discussing this briefly. I mean, a lot of the time students are looking at teachers to fulfill a lot of their roles as parents because the parents are busy. They're, the double income families, both the husband and the wife are working. There's limited time, and then it leads to that disconnect between the child, and many of the times those pressures come to the schools. And I have this conversation with many of my principals who tell me that the expectations from a school are sky high with the from the parents, and there is an urgent need for us to also educate parents on what they can expect from the school and what is their own role in helping school help their children become successful in life. So what will be your take on
So,
that?
as you said, your parents are busy, but I would also say that this generation of parents is very invested in their children. Unlike, our parents, if you how many times did they visit the school? They didn't come for any coffee mornings, but nowadays parents do if you call them. So, whenever a parent chooses a school, they've done their due diligence. Okay, so they have a trust, they're trying to build trust, and they have an expectation. So you have to meet them there. You have to cultivate that trust. You have to have that relationship with parents. You have to invite them as many times you can. We have coffee mornings, we call them for showcases. Simple, we don't go all out, but just let them come and see what's happening in the school. And of course, conversations with them are very important. Any child entering in early years now, I tell the parent that that child is going to step into the world of work in 2040. 15, 12 to 15 years of schooling.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I can't even imagine 2030 what the world is going to be. And you and I are preparing the child for 2040. So let it be a partnership. And of course, you have to guide the parents that they have to be parents. They don't have to be friends. This gentle parenting concept is there right now. But parent is the parent as a parent has to have
I
boundaries
like
in
this
school.
term, gentle parenting.
Yeah,
So
they don't say no. They don't stop the child. But you have to have boundaries. The children will learn from that. You are the only constant in a child's life.
I think you're absolutely correct. They don't say no, and I was told by one of my colleagues who said, I mean, they don't say no because they are compensating for the time that they are not able to give.
Yeah, that's what we say. So, but no? They should
They
have
should.
those boundaries. The boundaries and the values will all come from home. As I said, they are the only constant in the child's life.
They are only constant in the child's life. Yeah, absolutely.
So the child should draw strength from that.
From that.
And again, they are a good resource for a school, just like teachers, parents are a good resource. We draw on their expertise, we involve them in many things. So it's a partnership we have to cultivate.
Yeah, I think it's a partnership that we have to cultivate, and I think like all good partnerships, I mean, it has to be one that is led by mutual success of all the
Absolutely.
stakeholders. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
the moment you start finger pointing to another person, then it becomes a very useless conversation.
So one thing I learned very fast that the millennial parents want fast communication.
Yeah.
So that's how now we have so many channels of communication, WhatsApp, because they need information immediately. They want information in. So circulars and all it used to take time. I mean, it's now that we don't use paper and all that, so we have other ways. But they want information immediately. Otherwise, WhatsApp rumors start. So we need to be very clear in our communication and timely in our communication with the parents.
And what is your take on Masters Union? I mean, we are doing learn by doing.
Yes, absolutely.
And what has been your impression of us as an institution? How, I mean, we believe in, as I said, skills before degree, learn by doing. A lot of our students who are studying the undergraduate program resonate with this. And as I said, I mean, many students from your school has also been
Yes, yes.
part of our programs. So, what is your take?
Absolutely, the philosophy which we believe in, focusing on skills and learning by doing. And we've seen that you've come and addressed our students. You've always had very valuable insights to share, and our children have come there. So I think you're doing a wonderful job and continue doing and making that difference and grooming the children for the future, which we all know is so complex and uncertain. But if we equip them with the right kind of skills, I think they'll be ready for all challenges and for life.
Perfect. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. It was a wonderful conversation and honor having you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me here.